Welcome to Jimmy John's Field, everyone, in Utica, Michigan, getting ready for this matchup between the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers here tonight and the Westside Woolly Mammoths. An absolutely gorgeous day for baseball. No rain in sight. The sun is out, and we're ready for some more important action here in the United Shore Professional Baseball League. Jeremy Otto alongside Dan Griesbaum Jr. here from the United Shore Media Desk to bring you the call of tonight's game. You look at yesterday, and I think one of the stories, especially in some of these highly thought of pitchers in the league this year, they have that one bad outing. We've seen, them go through the order, and, it's that one inning, it seems like, that fuels the offense and kind of gets the pitcher out of there. But Jared Wright was one of those 2 starts ago. Last night, he erased that. 7 innings, 4 hits, just 1 walk compared to 8 strikeouts. He had it going.
Oh, it was outstanding, and it just makes you think about what is this league? What is the purpose of this league? Well, the purpose is we're trying to take guys and make them better, help them get to that next level, help them eventually sign with a MLB affiliated club. In order to do that, these coaches and Justin Orendorff, they're all working with these guys every day, trying to identify areas that they can improve. In a bad outing, frankly, that's almost good news at times. It allows you to take a look at a guy. What did he do wrong? How do we fix it? Can he take that information, go out there and improve himself? And in Jared Wright's case, obviously that was a job well done.
Well, another 1-0 win for the Mammoths. Their second in a row in terms of wins overall. Not sure they're going to be able to do that and pull it off tonight with this talented lineup that the Beavers will put out there. But nonetheless, their offense looks a little bit more comfortable getting longer at bats. So I think we'll see the numbers come.
I hope so, for their sake. I think Garrett Keeber's been a nice little piece at the leadoff spot. Not only is he flashing some leather like he did last night from the shortstop position, that's in a lot of ways the most important thing when you're a shortstop, but getting on base consistently and swinging the bat, hitting a little over 300, I think. But who in that lineup is going to give some consistent at-bats from a power standpoint? We think, there's a few guys in there that can do that job, but they're just not there yet. They're not producing that consistent output yet. Are they going to get it eventually? I hope so, because they're not going to be able to pitch a shutout every day.
Well, a big addition to the lineup for the Beavers. We keep saying that. It seems like, you got Freddie Geely, who's been in their game in and game out. Xavier Warren has been added. Joey Weimer to the Milwaukee products to the USPBL this year. But another one here today, a guy who can run, a guy who has some power as well, and TJ Riles.
Yeah, he sure looks like it. We haven't had a great look at him yet, but just looking at his numbers from college and otherwise, it sure looks like he can run, steals a lot of bags. We've talked about stealing bases a lot in this league so far, and I think this, of all the professional baseball leagues in the world, whether they're going on right now or not, I think this one's got some of the best base stealers right now. That's not a part of the game that is really getting developed in a lot of parts of the country, but if we got another guy here who can steal some bags, that'll be exciting, and certainly looks like he can, judging by his history.
Well, with that in mind, let's take a peek at your starting lineups today. As always, brought to you by AAA. TJ Riles right in there and sort of right into the top of Von Joshua's starting lineup. He'll play left field here today. Freddie Geely moves back down to the 2-hole. Xavier Warren, Joey Weimer, and Cameron Comer make up a dangerous meat of the order for Von Joshua's squad. Romero Harris, a pretty darn good 6-hole hitter, all things considered as well. Ron Williams Jr., Alec Olin, and Jonathan Brandt will follow him as they face Ben McKendall here tonight for the Mammoths. On the other side for the home squad, the Woolly Mammoths here tonight. As Dan mentioned, Garrett Keeber back atop the lineup for Paul Nickenbrugge here today. Landon Barnes and Josh Goulet will follow. Will Johnson, Ross Haffey, and Keandre Jones make up the middle. It's Brett Elmer, Jamal Howard, and Isaiah Cullum behind the dish and catching and batting ninth here today for the Mammoths. Kid of the game sponsored by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan. Today it's Addison Gross, a 7-year-old at a Montessori Children's Academy. She loves dancing, and she's also a part of a host family for the USPBL. So that's a very cool thing. So thanks for submitting that here today. We love to see our representatives that do so much for these players, and certainly in a trying time where it's tough to house these guys. Look, they're so important right now.
Oh, vital. It's vital to the survival of the league, and we feel frustrated about it sometimes because we'd love to have all of them out here to all the games, and it's been tough to do that too. We're limited to the 100 people or less rule right now and haven't been able to have all these host families out to the games, but we really appreciate them supporting us on the broadcast too.
Well, now time for Dan Griesbaum Jr.'s keys to the game. What do you think today?
Both of my keys are on the Beavers side of the ledger today. I think, first and foremost, you always have to look at starting pitching. A.J. Coleman, a little bit of a rough outing the last time out. You know, he's someone that we expect big things out of. You already spoke earlier today about Jared Wright, how he had a bad outing, made some corrections, came back out and was outstanding. Can A.J. Coleman do the same type of thing? He's a two-seam fastball, maybe you call it a sinker more so type of guy. He's not going to throw it by you. He doesn't get a lot of swings and misses on it, so he's got to locate. He's got to keep the ball down. We'll see how he looks today with regard to that. And then we just talked about the new leadoff man. If you have a new leadoff guy like that and he can come through for you, it really elongates the heart of your order. Now you're dropping Freddie Geely, who's obviously a productive offensive player, and now you're dropping him down to the 2 spot, and everybody else kind of takes a step down as well. Throughout the middle of that order, is it Haffey? Is it Keandre Jones? Who in the middle of that order is going to drive some runs in? But if that leadoff guy can get on, steal some bases, get into scoring position, that could be a key for them. And as you mentioned, this is looking like maybe it could be a pretty good lineup.
Yeah, the Mammoths looking to keep it rolling here today with their 2nd victory in a row. They've played so much over the last 5 days, so that helps sometimes too. We'll see if they can do it after this here on the USPBL Network.
Order Jimmy John's and we'll bring it to your car door. Leave it at your front door or have it ready for you at our drive-thru. Just use jimmyjohns.com or our app to tell us what sandwiches, drinks, chips, and cookies you're hungry for. When you want it and how you want it. We're ready.
With Equinox from your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers, the sky isn't the limit. Lease a 2020 Equinox LT front-wheel drive for just $261 a month. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City. Visit ChevyDetroit.com.
Welcome back to Jimmy John's Field, everyone. Just about underway here in the game versus the Mammoths and the Beavers. Today's game is brought to you by these fine partners: Balfour Property Restoration, AAA, Ascension, Detroit Medical Center, DTE Energy, Dunham Sports, Dunkin' Donuts, Jimmy John's, your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers, Pepsi, Scott's, Summit Oral, and United Shore. We thank all those fine partners for making our broadcast and league, quite frankly, happen each and every day. And we've, kind of mentioned it, but we are set to go a full season, given that everything checks out, and it has, certainly, with the COVID protocols that have been put in place.
Absolutely. We've got some advantages over other leagues in that we've got our own little built-in pod here anyway, one ballpark with 4 teams, and everything's coming along so far. So we're excited. 75 game season, and we're going to have a nice pennant race in late September.
Let's take a peek at your pitching comparison brought to you by Denso this evening. On the bump for the Beavers is A.J. Coleman. Walk to strikeout ratio looks good, Dan.
Yeah, it does. And he's someone who, deserves better than I think the stats have played out so far, but had a rough one the last time out, and we'll see how he bounces back today.
Ben McKendall, on the other hand, did not have a rough one.
No, he did not. He also didn't get a win for that one, and he deserved one. But regardless, he had 6 fabulous innings, couldn't have been much better. And, both of these guys are really the type of pitchers that are going to give you a chance to win most of the time that they're out there.
Well, these two teams technically towards the bottom end of the standings, but the Woolly Mammoths made that historic run the last couple of years to fire their way into the playoffs, and that's the kind of pennant field that we want to see heading into September. And we talked to Justin Orenduff a little bit about that yesterday, and he said we're going to continue to see the taxi squad, kind of through and just before September 1st. But by September 1st, they want to have rosters set and have that pennant chase and more competitive feel out of the whole league in general.
I think that'll be fun for the players, too. I think they'll be happy about settling down with one team at that point, once they're in mid-season form and enjoying a nice race down the stretch with a real competitive atmosphere.
Well, the first pitch between the Beavers and the Mammoths is coming at you next here on the USPBL Network. Don't go anywhere. Beautiful day for baseball here today. Sun-soaked Jimmy John's Field as Ben McKendall toes the slab here for the Westside Woolly Mammoths. The 6-foot-tall, 210-pound right-hander out of Los Angeles, California.
It almost feels awkward sitting here with this beautiful sunshine after the last couple of times we've been out holding umbrellas and an overcast sky and whatnot. But what a beautiful night for a ball game, and excited to settle in here, see Ben McKendall on the hill. Was really outstanding the last time out there. Player of the game against the Beavers in his last outing. 6 terrific innings, 2 hits, scattered a couple of walks, and his team did win the game in extra innings. So, looking for him to build upon that and continue to help this Mammoth squad, which has been improving of late.
.95 whip so far this season for Ben McKendall's strikeouts to walk pretty good as well. 9 walks to 22 Ks. He came into last game, kind of looking to bounce back himself, and we've talked about this throughout our pregame show today, sponsored by Alicia Aleph from State Farm. But, these guys have one bad outing, and it's usually 1 inning, it feels like, and then boom, they make those DVS adjustments / pitching coach / Justin Orenduff, and
right.
they roll the next time out.
Put a little magic dust on them, and all of a sudden they're out here and looking like a different guy. His last time out, he really relied upon his changeup, which was excellent. He's been mixing in a cutter-type pitch, which has been effective, and it'll be interesting to see how he relies upon those tonight, if he attacks hitters a similar manner or if he goes about something different.
The newcomer TJ Riles will lead it off, followed by Freddie Geely and Xavier Warren, your Zach Hart agency. 3 men due up in the first. We've seen Geely warm up in this number 1 spot really to start the last 5 or so games for Von Joshua's team, but Riles gets the start there today. First pitch of the ball game, and for a strike at 7:04 p.m. 75 degrees here in Utica, Michigan at game time.
Potentially now the Beavers have 3 left-handers to lead off their lineup. Of course, Warren's a switch hitter, but we'll be hitting lefty tonight against McKendall.
How about that? 4 lefties that you can throw out there. On Joshua at the beginning of the year, just looking to spread out his lefties.
Right.
Didn't have a lot of them. Diving in for strike 2 at 80 miles per hour.
And he's a taxi squad guy, but they generally have Shoemaker, too, available, who's also a lefty.
Due again here tonight along with Jalen Smith. It's a 2-man bench. We saw just 1-man benches last night. 1-2 is floated to center field. Howard, along with Kieber, trying to go back on that, and wouldn't put it past Kieber to pick that one up in short left field the way he was rolling yesterday.
A bit of good luck for TJ Riles as he starts out his USPBL career.
Gets a nice smile there.
He's a guy that I think you have to keep a little bit of an eye on at first base. He's got a pretty good reputation with regard to stealing bases.
Get him that baseball as well. We'll see if Freddie Geely settles in a little bit. I mean, he didn't exactly dominate in the leadoff spot. Came in to that role, rolling pretty good, around a 300 average, down to 238 coming into today.
He's one of their better overall hitters, and as I've told you before, I've always advocated to having one of your best all-around hitters in that 2 spot. So that really could be a good spot for him.
Good lead for Riles. He's going on first move and has a good jump. Pretty good throw down to second base, and not in time.
Didn't waste any time there, did he?
TCF Bank stolen base here in the first. Single, stolen base. Just like that. They have a runner in scoring position here with a lot of haunting hitters coming up for Ben McKendall here in the first.
Should I thank TJ Riles for getting off to a fast start? I made him one of my keys to the game, and he's already putting some things on the stat card.
Well, maybe you're here, Jim. I don't know. The Beavers dugout is down the first base line, being the visitors here today. That's where we record our pregame show.
True.
Pitch in the dirt at 80 miles per hour there from McKendall. Fastball, slider, changeup, cutter. His off-speed, in terms of speed, are pretty close together. The fastball can reach as high as 90-91. He's been sitting at an average about 89 so far this season. 1-1 pitch popped him up. Third base side, that's Haffey coming in for out number 1 here.
I'm still not real used to seeing Haffey in that third base spot.
Here's the rest of the Mammoths defense. Johnson at left, Howard in center, Goulet in right. Haffey at third, like we told you. Keeper at short, Barnes at second, Jones at first, and Cullum behind the dish to complete the battery here tonight. Yeah, Haffey's been getting some reps over at that third base bag. You'll see him a lot at designated hitter, but with these shortened rosters, I mean, if you have one of those spots, you're kind of pressed into defensive duties. Wow, what a throw at second base! My goodness! Did he mean to do that?
He took advantage of his aggressive nature over there, I guess, but it was really a perfectly placed throw. And I don't know if they just kind of met eyes and decided to do that. It wasn't one of the, what you would call the inside move where you lift and turn. It was just he turned his body that way and decided to throw it.
Fly ball to right field. That's a big charge and onto the berm and gone for Xavier Warren. First home run of the career here in the USPBL for Xavier.
What a turn of events that was. I was so busy thinking about that pickoff play, I missed that swing completely. Certainly not a surprise to see Xavier Warren hit one out of here, though.
Exited the bat at 103 miles an hour.
The Beavers right fielder, Joey Weaver.
That really makes that pickoff hurt when that happens.
No doubt. I mean, you got a 2-0 lead on a guy who's been doing pretty well out there on the mound in Ben McKendall.
You don't want to give away outs. We've talked about that before, and you also don't want to hand over easy outs that you have no business giving up, and it works both ways.
2-0 here on Joey Weimer. Cameron Comer, your Zach Hart agency man on deck. He's hitting 5th here today for Von Joshua's squad.
Can you imagine having a cleanup hitter that runs as well as Joey Weimer? I don't know if I recall any cleanup hitters that run that well.
In there for strike 1. Now the tools, certainly what they like out of this right fielder / outfielder in general. Talking about Milwaukee, that is. 2-1 is off the plate outside. And I think it's an extra, boost to your career accolade listed on, as a star in a draft where we only saw 5 rounds.
Right. To
get drafted there is a big deal. Ground ball third base side, Haffey. Nice throw to first base for out number 2. 3, I beg your pardon, after the pickoff.
Right.
Well, Xavier Warren put a charge into one to right after the pickoff at second base. That's why his squad has a 1-0 lead here on the USPBL network.
We like to do it before we go out on the weekend.
We do.
We do it every week.
Whether we need to or not.
We did it today.
It was really dirty.
My parents do it every day.
Hey, kiddo!
Do it every day with the Unlimited Club, only at Jack's Car Wash. Protect your car from the hot summer sun, dust, dirt, and contaminants all summer long with the Jack's Unlimited Club. Join today, starting at just $21.99 a month.
At Priority Health, we're embarking on a new normal, embracing the changes needed to keep Michigan safe. While that may look a little different for everyone, Priority Health is here to help. With access to the care you need, the doctors you want, and the quality coverage you can afford. So you can get back to this, and this, safely, steadily, and with the smartest health coverage possible.
A.J. Coleman on the mound here tonight for the Beavers. 6'8", 240-pound right-handed pitcher out of the University of Cincinnati, Dan.
Looking forward to seeing him tonight. It's always interesting when we have these situations where someone's coming off of maybe a little bit of a shaky outing, especially when it's someone who's a well-thought-of piece here in the league. You know, someone that I think the Beavers plan to build their rotation around somewhat going forward. And how is he going to bounce back? What did he work on after the last outing, and how is this one going to go today?
Two-seam fastball, curveball, changeup for A.J. Coleman. 20 innings on the year, 16 runs given up, 13 of them earned.
I think the real key for him is that two-seam fastball and how he locates it.
First pitch outside at 85.
I think he came in with maybe a reputation that he threw that pitch a little bit harder. I don't think that's really played out that way, which is okay. You know, you can still get guys out with a good sinking fastball as long as you're able to locate.
Goes with the fastball 59% of the time, which for some of these starters is a little bit more than we see, but it's a three-pitch arsenal for A.J. Coleman, so not surprising. He's another guy that likes to work quickly. 2-1 pitch is spoiled off.
I think baseball players like guys like that. All baseball players do, whether you're playing behind them or you're playing against them or whatever. I think people appreciate pitchers that get the ball and go.
Fans these days, I'm sure, do as well.
For sure. Young fans especially.
Here's the 2-2. Fouled off. Everybody's all about, hey, how can we make the game faster?
Right.
Pitch clocks, you know, the runner on second base to start extra innings. It's all been talked about. Here's the 2-2. Serves that one to right, and Joey Weimer is there for out number one. Landon Barnes, Josh Goulet, the Zach Hart agency, two more men due up here in the first inning for the Mammoths. I think we talked about it a little bit in the pregame show, but one run might not be enough. Obviously, you see that already.
Right.
Against this Beavers lineup here tonight.
I don't think one run is going to be enough to beat the Beavers most games going forward. Not if this lineup stays the way it is. You know, they've got a new table setter with the leadoff guy, and they've had Warren and Weimer for a while. A couple of guys that are going to be very impressive in the middle of the order, and I think they're going to score more runs going forward.
Warren turned on a pitch down the right field line and hit it way out onto the hill in right center field, which normally seats quite a few fans.
Yeah, even a socially distanced hill, it would have been nice to see some people scrambling for that baseball.
1-0, popped him to right, Weimer for the second out.
Weimer with a busy day already.
So I'm sure that's a sigh of relief for A.J. Coleman to see 2 up and 2 down. The problem inning was not the first, though, in his last start. It was the fourth inning where the Unicorns sent 14 to the plate and scored 9 runs off this right-hander. Kind of shocking from what we had seen from him previously.
And everyday Goulet back in there.
He is. Yesterday for Josh, 0 for 1 with a run. The only run of the ball game for the Mammoths. Scored in a untraditional fashion, the wild pitch by Austin Dakar. 2-0 on Josh here. 10 for 42 combined, and all his ABs with all the teams. 238 average is what that comes out to be.
And the more you watch A.J. Coleman, he really looks like someone that would be difficult for a right-hander to hit off of. He has that long stride. He steps a a little bit toward the right-hander's batter's box.
3-0 pitch in for a strike at 84.
He's tall. You know, he's got that long reach, and it's got to feel like it's coming from behind your head to some degree, and then it tails down and in on you as well. If he can locate that pitch, I think he'll be tough.
Chopped in the ground to Brant. That's a 1-2-3 breeze for A.J. Coleman here in the first inning. Uses his defenders efficiently here and holds on to a 1-0 lead for the Beavers, as we'll see that talented offense come back again. Wild time for Jimmy John's Freaky Fast Trivia.
All right.
Some music for you.
Oh, boy.
Which singer's real name is Stefani Joanne Angelina Germanata?
Oh, boy. Well, I know, being 75% Italian myself, I know Lady Gaga is Italian, and I'm going to go with Lady Gaga as a result of that.
Is that your final answer?
That is my final answer.
Bingo.
All right.
There you go.
Speaking of Italian pride, she made an appearance as an extra when she was young on the show The Sopranos, which is
really?
a little known fact.
Very cool. Look at you coming out with these facts here today.
I'm back on a hot streak with the trivia, so we'll see if that can keep up all week.
It's a whole new ball game at your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. Right now, you can lease an all-new 2020 Chevy Equinox LT Forward for just $261 a month for 36 months. Again, that's $261 a month for just 36 months as well. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City. Well, a couple theme nights back-to-back here in the USPB. I'll get to that in a second.
Is it Italian night? Because that would be perfect.
Not quite. USPBL.com/shop to purchase your favorite team gear today. You mentioned while we were off air that you wanted to pick up one of those Beavers Gators, yeah?
I did mention that. I like the colors, and I already have the Hoppers Gator, which is orange and very sharp, but I just don't have that much orange and green stuff, so I feel like I need another color to work in a Gator with some other gear.
Tomorrow is Firefighter Night, brought to you by Balfour Property Restoration. And then Friday, Catholic Night, brought to you by our friends at Alliance Catholic Credit Union.
Catholic Night can go along with Italian Night.
Yeah, there you go.
A little bit. There's some.
Are you bringing cannolis for us?
A lot of overlap there. That would be great.
Maybe Bomberitos over in.
Man. Yeah, you're talking East Side now. East Side Diamond Hoppers, sponsored by the Cannoli Night.
This one in for strike one and Cameron Comer. It's Comer, Harris, and Williams Jr. Your Zach Hart agency. 3 men due up in the second. Really, really good pickoff by Ben McKendall to cut down TJ Riles, who was kind of shading a little bit too far off the bag, and I don't think he really expected Ben to turn around. But, Dan, that's one you add to the, minor league reel to try to get picked up.
It was a very awkward turn, yet athletic in some way, and literally a perfect throw. He threw it right into the zone where you would be tagging the runner.
And he's right there for this ground ball. And it's almost one of those where you think, oh boy, that might go into center field because it was off the bag. But like you said, almost done so nifty that it was right there for out number 2 at that time. That cleared the bases and prevented it from becoming a 2-0 game just a pitch later with the swing by Xavier Warren.
Well, pitchers love to be able to help themselves out like that, and we've mentioned on the broadcast before, the pitchers haven't been very good handling base runners yet. Probably not of primary concern in their training, their DVS system. I'm sure it probably doesn't talk a whole lot about that, and it's not something they're concentrating on yet, but when you're able to get yourself a key out like that, that's a huge break for a pitcher.
1-0 quickly on Romero Harris here. He's off to a 176 start through 34 at-bats. There was a stretch in the middle of these first 5 or so weeks of the USPBL season where he started to turn it around and swing a pretty good bat, hit a couple home runs that week.
He did, yep.
It was either week 2 or 3.
He almost ended a game with a long fly ball, too. It would have been a walk-off home run, and it just barely got under it. It almost hit it out of here. Off the bat, it looked like it was out, as I recall.
Ahead in the count here, 3-0. Just 1 walk to 8 strikeouts thus far for the Beavers center fielder. The pitch is outside at 87, so a 4-pitch walk to Harris here.
Don't see the 4-pitch walk out of McKendall too much.
on the year, just his 10th walk now. Walked just 2 and struck out 6 in his last start, where he went 6 innings, just giving up 2 hits through 83 pitches. Here's the utility man, Ron Williams Jr. Third baseman Haffey pinching in. This one downstairs, so that's 5 straight balls at 87. First inning for McKendall, leadoff single by Riles, picked off eventually. Pop out by Geely. 2-out homer by Xavier Warren. On the ground out from Joey Weimer to end the threats.
You know, not to dwell on that pickoff too much, but it sort of speaks to the overall feeling by the sabermetricians out there that maybe trying to steal bases and that type of thing isn't worth the trouble. You know, that's part of their thought process on that. When you're trying to get an aggressive lead and you're thinking about moving your feet and possibly advancing to third, that could leave you exposed to something like that. And a lot of baseball men don't want to give up outs that way.
On the ground, just over the second base bag. Nice placement there from Williams Jr. Now you have runners on first and second with only 1 down in the second here.
Alec Oland, another guy coming up now that is an athletic ball player, runs really well. Let off for a while at the beginning of the season, but just hasn't gotten the bat going yet. Far too many strikeouts for a guy who runs like he does.
7 walks to 14 Ks thus far, 5 for 36, $139 in the average column for Alec Oland. Looks at one outside, 77-mile-per-hour slider there, I believe. Calm day here at Jimmy John's Field. Just a slight breeze moving that flag towards right center field. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Low at 78. Change up there. That's always been his go-to pitch. He'll throw that pitch in fastball counts.
Yeah, he feels good about that pitch. You know, the thing about McKendall, you actually already mentioned it, but really everything he throws pretty much is between like 81 to 88 miles per hour. It's all kind of right in that range.
Here's the 2-0 on the ground, third base side. Through the 5-hole there, and this is going to score a run. Harris around third base, and just like that, it's 2-0 Beavers.
Yeah, that's a costly error right there for Haffey. That's a ball that's an easy double play ball, or at a very minimum 1 out, because at the very least he can step on third base.
That's after he made a pretty nice play to end the first.
Yep. You've got to find a way to stay in front of that ball at least. That's a nightmare. That's a nightmare for a third baseman.
Harris scoring his 7th run of the year, and here comes the bottom of the order in Jonathan Brandt. 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts his last game against this very Mammoths team on July 31st. First pitch changeup inside. Maybe the slider, in fact.
You know, and what I said about McKendall could really go either way. And in one way, you might like to see a pitcher who has a little more differential on one of their off-speed pitches. You know, maybe something in the low 70s or even the high 60s, a slower curveball, just to keep hitters more off balance. But on the flip side of that, it does make it tough on the hitter, because coming out of his hand, they could see one of several pitches in their mind. It's tough to recognize, is that a cutter? Is that a changeup? Is that the two-seam fastball? It's tough to recognize a lot of his pitches. Whereas something like a slow curveball, you see that much sooner.
So 1-1 on Jonathan Brandt. Runners on first and second with a run already in with 1 out in the second. That's why it's 2-0. In favor of the Beavers here. A bluff to second base. Von Joshua has been working with Jonathan Brandt quite a bit on his hitting ever since he brought him over from the California Winter League, as That one shot foul. He thinks he gets tilted a little bit with his upper body while hitting. It's a silent stance, though, in this right-handed batter's box.
I always found that to be difficult, trying to stay more silent. You know, I personally think it's easier to have a little bit of emotion, kind of keep you moving.
1-2, swing and a miss. Nice biting change up that time for out number 2.
Do you remember Jeff Larish by chance?
Yes.
Left-handed hitter.
Cleat Thomas?
Yep.
You stare at his bat?
Yeah, Larish always struck me as just incredibly still in the box, and he didn't even have much of a load. It was just kind of from that set position and then forward. And it always seemed difficult to me just watching him hit.
Jeff Larish had the same type of flow that Brant had, if I
he did,
remember
actually.
right.
Yeah, he did.
First pitch to TJ Riles is fouled back. You got any more obscure Tigers to throw at me?
You don't want to play obscure Tiger game with me. First of all, anyone who was around for the mid-'90s Tigers can dominate an obscurity game.
0-1. Off the plate outside at 79. Has been able to throw the slider for strikes too often here today to begin things. Here's a 0-2. Swing and a miss. So back-to-back strikeouts for Ben McKendall here after allowing the one-out walk. Romero Harris came around to score in the air by Haffey. 2-0 Beavers on the USPBL Network.
They called it the 1,000-year flood. They were having homes and businesses flooded, and the roads were being washed out.
My entire house is going to be flooded. Okay, do you have a second story?
A lot of fear that we were going to lose a lot of people. When we heard the police station was flooded, we immediately gave them our command center to operate out of.
Belfour was our savior. Sheldon and his team restored 25 of our businesses and more than 1,500 residences.
At Belfour, we're restoring more than property.
DTE Energy customers can get their share of huge lifetime energy cost savings. How? By using our website. The Oslin's new programmable thermostat saved them a bundle. And their new, efficient furnace earned them a hefty rebate. All over Michigan, people like the Oslins are saving. Why not you? There are always new ways to save at dteenergy.com/saveenergy. DTE Energy.
Clean first inning for A.J. Coleman as he climbs atop the hill for his second inning of work. Line out to right. Joey Weimer took home that one, and then the fly out to Weimer and the ground ball to Jonathan Brandt. 1-2-3 against Keeber Barnes and Goulet.
So far, so good. Appears to have a pretty good grasp of his sinker right now, throwing it to both sides of the plate. Throwing it often, as he always does, but seems to have good command.
Everybody getting in their guesses for the Dunkin' Donuts race here today. We'll carry that live on the air once again tonight. It's always a fun one. Tim Ruthenberg says, I bought all 4 Gators last night while at the game. How about that?
It. Good idea. I probably should have done the same.
Tim Ruthenberg also says, go Mammoths. You did it last night. Let's do it again. Yeah, they've won 2 of their last 3 of the Westside Woolly Mammoths. 1-0 pitched, line foul. Will Johnson yesterday got his 3rd knock of the year. He was 1 for 3. All put together, 3 for 12 so far. It's Johnson, Ross, Haffey, and Keandre Jones here in the second inning. Or Zach Hart, agency men on deck. Spread out middle of the infield as Geely and Brandt are in their respective holes. This one shot that way and in for a base hit.
I mentioned the importance of the middle of the order for the Mammoths earlier today, and just to reiterate that, if they're going to be a team that wins, 2 out of every 3 games the rest of the year, which is probably something that they need to do if they want to climb back into this thing, they're going to need to get some meaningful offense from the middle. Will Johnson's part of that, Ross Haffey's part of that, and Keandre Jones is going to be part of that.
2 for 9 last night combined for that spot. Haffey 0 for 3 with 3 Ks.
And he'd like to rope one here. He gave up a run defensively last inning, so he'd love to get that back himself.
Over the last week and a half, they tried to get him at bats every game, whether that means playing for a different team
right.
every night. Hasn't come to that point quite yet, just because a lot of these teams are playing back-to-backs, but he has seen much more time on the taxi squad than at the beginning of the year. 2-0 might just be enough to get past Brandt. Not in time at second base. Everybody's safe.
Yeah, Geely had to kind of come a little bit off the bag, too, to field that one. That was a tough play. I don't know. I'd have to take another look at it. Hopefully we can here on the YouTube monitor. I don't know if we'll be able to see Haffey or not, but with the way Haffey runs, he may have had a better chance trying to go to first, but it would have been a really hard play. It would have been a really tough throw for Brent.
Yeah, a few seconds, I was watching Haffey out of the peripheral. I mean, he was, about a step before the bag by the time Geely was sort of ranging off the second base bag. So, tougher throw, no doubt.
Yeah, definitely.
First pitch to Keandre Jones, a fastball in for strike one. Very fastball heavy so far for A.J. Coleman.
Yeah, he tends to be that way. That's his bread and butter, is that sinking fastball. It's a good spot here for Keandre Jones.
0-1 is outside. Talked to Justin Orenduff about what made Coleman a little less effective last game than he has been all year. He said he just couldn't get on top of the ball with his fingers. That's to do with timing and the foot strike, he says.
Yeah, if he can't get on top of his ball, he's going to leave it up, and it's going to negate that sinking action.
Whittled off at 86 for strike 2. You argue whether Ty Hensley liked the 14-batter inning when A.J. Coleman was out there his last time out, if he disliked it, because he gave up 4 of his own in the bottom of the 4th, came back in the 5th, and retired him 1-2-3. We'll see Ty Hensley again tomorrow.
I'm sure he'd be happy with like a 9-batter inning, get him a little bit of a lead, but don't keep him on the bench too long.
Don't get too cold.
Right.
Don't feel like you have to jog to the bullpen. And
plus, it was wasn't that the 4th inning?
Yes.
It wasn't the beginning of the game.
On the ground again to Brandt, ranges over to get this one. Another tough throw to first base. Won't get him.
Yeah, he tried. He tried to go to first that time. He changed course and decided to go the other way in that one. And again, a really tough play. Certainly not. That's not on Brandt. Certainly, it's just an infield hit. There's not much you can do about it.
So a second consecutive infield hit here. JJ was in the middle of the field.
Yeah, he was confused.
Was he looking to get the ball there?
I think
Snipe
so.
it from A.J. Coleman?
Yeah, he's been following ground balls as much as he has bats lately. We're gonna have to give him a little talking to.
After 1-2-3 inning, 3 weaker hits off of A.J. Coleman in the second. But this is the type of thing that can get an offense going.
Oh, yeah.
3 bloops and a blast, right?
Exactly. This is Brett Ulmer's first DH appearance, I think.
Hitting up in the order a little bit here. Brandt, sharp ground ball to Geely. Good feed over to first base, and they turn the 6-4-3. Johnson will score and split the lead in half.
Yeah, that's, a sinker baller like Coleman, that's his best friend there, and that's going to help him get out of this jam. He doesn't love giving up the run, but he'll at this point, he'll trade 2 outs for the run.
Here's Jamal Howard now. 0 for 183 last night. 160 average to start the year for him through 25 ABs. Strikeouts have been an issue. 2 walks to 15 Ks so far.
Reminds me a little bit of Romero Harris in a certain way. He's got that pop in his bat, but just hasn't been consistent yet this year.
Change up in for strike 1 at 79. Now the 1-1.
That was a good pitch.
Curveball, the first I think we've seen here today. Ahead of Jamal Howard, and really trying to erase what could have been a great inning for the Mammoths and just scoring 1 run if he can hold it right here. Shakes off the first one he sees from Warren. Xavier hasn't caught a whole lot. He's played some third base. That was out of need for Von Joshua's squad. But they wanted to get him back in as a catcher because that's obviously where he was drafted with for Milwaukee.
Yeah, the more I read about Milwaukee and their thought process with him, it seems like they really like the fact that he can catch, and they want to try to make that work, is my understanding.
2-2, checked his swing. No, he did not. He went around. That's for the first strikeout for A.J. Coleman. Good job to weave onto the inning without much damage. The leadoff single to begin the second comes around to score. That's Will Johnson. More after this.
First State Bank is a locally owned and operated business. We're part of your community. At fsbcares.com, you'll find ways that we're making a difference by featuring locally owned and operated businesses, providing access to helpful financial resources, and engaging with community. FSBcares.com is part of our commitment to the neighborhood because strong neighbors mean stronger communities. Where good neighbors do great things. Member FDIC and Equal Housing Lender.
Throughout your life, from big moments to ones well-earned, we're your financial guardian angel. Alliance Catholic Credit Union.
Welcome back to Jimmy John's Field, everyone. Jeremy Otto alongside Dan Griesbaum Jr. to bring the call here tonight. Mind you can always chime in with us and certainly weigh in for those contests on Facebook and YouTube as well. Deloy Williams, the grandmother of Ron Williams Jr., watching from Columbus, Ohio. So hello, Deloy. Elizabeth Torres says, nice hit, Xavier. It was. You put a nice swing on that and elevated it to right field and out of here. The first one of the game for the Beavers. Brian Giles thinks the hot coffee is going to win here tonight. Also wants Warren for player of the game. That's a good bet to begin this thing so far.
Yep.
Tina Marie Snyder asking if Tim Ruthenberg bought her a unicorn skater. I don't think he did, though.
What color is the unicorn skater? Is it purple?
I don't know. Not sure I've seen one.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that one yet.
By any guys on the field. Fly ball to center. Howard started in, chasing it back, looking up against the track. And Freddie Geely nearly hit his second homer of the year.
Tell you what, that ball carried much further than I thought it was going to carry.
Off the bat at 97.6. 356 feet to right center field. Xavier Warren Besides that double we saw the other night, I think those are the two best swings we've seen so far here in his USPBL career.
That could be. That could be true.
Off to a 4 for 22 start, broken 0 for 3 in his last contest where he had a walk.
I think it was the Hensley game where he had was it the sombrero or the hat trick? I know he had a bit of a run on strikeouts there, which I didn't expect really against any pitcher. He's got a pretty good compact swing.
Well, I looked that up too, and that's not something he did all of college in terms of 4 Ks. Sure, 3 Ks here and there, and a bunch of 0 for 4 nights just because, yes, it's baseball. No matter how good a hitter you are, you're going to have those days. But
sure,
we knew that the 4 strikeouts were very rare for a guy of this caliber. Nice pitch at 82, caught Warren guessing.
Generally pretty good strike zone discipline, too, for a guy with some power.
Now the even pitch. Beat the shift.
That was a nice piece.
He's going to take a hard turn around first base and cruise into second. It looked like he was going almost half wind there, and he made it look like...
He really did cruise. He literally did cruise into second.
So halfway to a cycle was the hardest one and the second hardest one away.
Off-speed pitch that was barely on the outside corner, and he really just threw his hands at it, and they had him shifted in the other direction, and it worked out. Nice adjustment.
So here's Joey Weimer now. One dangerous hitter to the next as this one is up top 1-0. Weimer 0 for 1 with a ground out to third base. And Dan, when you look at the spray chart for Xavier Warren so far this season, he's hit one single that just kind of dinked into left field. It was more left center, but everything has gone to center or right center so far. So that's where that came from.
Is that chart broken down by right, left?
Here, take a look. So he got his contact outs here in red. Wish we could show
but it doesn't. But it doesn't show if he's hitting from the right side of the plate or the left side.
I don't believe so. We'll see if we can get Eric McKean on that, if that's even possible.
Let's add some work to Eric's.
He does a great job. He's given us some great reports before the games, spray charts, heat zones, the whole 9 yards. This one into center field. Warren had to put on the brakes midway between second and third to make sure that wasn't caught.
Yeah, that was a tough read. Had he broke right away and gone full speed, he would have scored on that, but that would have been a tough thing to do on that ball.
Cameron Comer looking for his 10th RBI of the year. 3 doubles thus far, a home run for the primary catcher tonight, DHing as he gets the legs a night off. Mike Spardog says the Unicorn Gator is purple. So there's your answer.
Okay, there you go. That would probably go in the category of I don't have a lot that's going to match it at this point, but I do like it. I like the.
Is this purple you have on today, or is that maroon?
I was going for more maroon with this. Really, I'm a CMU guy, so I was going for more of a maroon. I would say it's not exactly CMU maroon though.
What is that classified as officially?
That's a good question. They just say maroon, but
okay.
There's variations of maroon that I'm not smart enough to make the distinction.
1-0 on Comer. Ooh.
Oh boy.
And Weimer was caught between first and second base here, and the slide over to first. It gets by him, and a run's going to score. Xavier Warren, with heady base running there, scores the second run of the game, and it's now 3-1 in favor of the Beavers. That's another Sherwood Brewing pickle here today. Tell them you watch the broadcast, head there tomorrow, and you get a half-off pickle pizza. Might have to pick one up for you as we head to the ballpark here.
Can we take advantage of that?
That'd be cool. Little pregame munch session here. Here's the 1-0. Hotly hit to the second base bag past the glove of Barnes, and that's back-to-back singles for this Beavers offense.
Well, Ben McKendall hasn't been done any favors by his defense really so far. That's a situation where he's got a guy dead picked off, and they throw it away, and the rundown scores the run. He had the situation with the routine ground ball to Haffey in a double play spot that goes right through his legs. He's been hard luck so far today, to say the least. He helped himself out once on that pickoff, but outside of that, he hasn't been helped out by defense.
Romero Harris scored his 7th run of the year when he got on base in the second inning, but more importantly, Dan, he got his 2nd base on ball of the year as well.
Is it really only a second? I didn't realize that.
So if he can start to show maybe a little bit more patience at the plate, now, given this is a powerful bat for Von Joshua's team, but maybe see a few more pitches, and that'll go a long way to getting him back and going. Popped it up. McKendall, rare you see this these days. Jones does call him off. They're going to rule an infield fly anyway.
Although that only applies if it ends up being a fair ball. So if it's in foul territory, you do have to catch it to record the out.
Ron Williams Jr., 1-for-1 start for him, at a single back in the second. Jacqueline Cherie Brown says, "Let's go Mammoths." We miss coming to the field and hanging out in the Cabana Suites.
Makes sense to me. Cabana Suites are a lot of fun.
First pitch to Ron is in there for strike one. I went and worked in one of those before one of our games, I think last week. One indication that not many people are in there, there's a lot of infield dirt.
Yes.
On the tables.
Yeah, we clean that frequently when people are using them, because you do get that blown in from the tractor and everything.
But that shows you how close you are to the action, right?
Incredibly close to the action. You won't find premium seating like that anywhere in the major leagues. It's just not possible with those type of ballparks.
We hope to clean those off again soon.
Definitely.
Williams Jr. begins the bottom of the order for the Beavers. It's him, Alec Olin, and Jonathan Brandt. Your Zach Hart agency men due up if things continue here in the third inning. Another run in. It's 3-1 in favor of the Beavers here tonight. Pours in strike two with the slider at 79. Haven't seen the cutter a whole lot here today. He threw 14 of them in his last start. That's a brand new pitch to his repertoire. 1-2 at 90. His best fastball so far today. Rides outside. But he's confident in that pitch now as Ben McKendall. Ended up throwing it in the bullpen a couple starts ago. And after that big second inning where he gave up all his runs, he brought it out and he was able to go the distance after that, surprisingly.
It's tough to make changes on the fly like that during the course of a game.
He liked what he saw in the pen in terms of that cutter. And he's like, well, you know, not much else is working for me right now. I'm going to try something different. And boy, did he make a good decision.
May as well try it.
Haffey slightly in at third base with the lead runner at second base and Joey Weimer. Cameron Comer stands at first. Xavier Warren, the man in after his double to start this rally in the third. Stayed high at 81.
Runners will be moving on this pitch now with the 3-2, 2 outs. If he can hit a gapper, could very easily score both.
That one was the changeup. He's working best when that works down in the zone. Weimer's a good runner at second, obviously. This one popped up to center. Howard going to have to come way in, and he makes that catch in stride. No question that the athlete had a good shot to get that one. So a single run in every inning thus far against Ben McKendall as his pitch count up from where we saw it last game. Now time for JJ, the field general, brought to you by Michigan First Credit Union here today. JJ with that tail wagging here today. Let's send it down to Chelsea Estes now.
All right, it's time for everyone's favorite, JJ the General. This is brought to you by Michigan First Credit Union. This is the time of the game where JJ brings a bottle of water and cold wet towel to the umpire to kind of say thank you, and I hope you have a good game. He is such a talented boy. He's out there catching frisbees, mingling with the fans, catching baseball bats. But yet, you guys, I'm still waiting for my ice cold bottle of water from JJ as he catches that frisbee, acting like it is not a problem at all. Look at him go, you guys. Such a good boy. All right, Jeremy, Dan, take it away.
Welcome back to the broadcast booth here at Jimmy John's Field. Thanks to Chelsea Estes for her work here today. She'll catch up with one of the managers in the fourth inning of play here today. And what'd you see from A.J. Coleman in his second inning of work?
Continues to have better command of his sinker, I think, and when he works in his curveball effectively, it really gives him another weapon, because to a right-hander, you've got that sinker coming down and in at you, and when the curve is going down and away, it's tough to contend with. And if he can command both of those pitches, he's got a real good chance to be effective too.
Isaiah Cullum, Garrett Kieber, and Landon Barnes, your Zach Hart agency three-men due up here in the third as Cullum looks at a strike on the corner. One in the first, one in the second, and one in the third thus far for this Birmingham Bloomfield offense. That went in for strike two at 79. Jeremy Otto alongside Dan Griesbaum Jr. to bring you the call here today. Chelsea Estes on the field. Robert Sherby, our director. Jeremiah Hergott, our graphics man and producer. Geely has out number one. A big 6-4-3 double play back in the second inning where Coleman saw the first run scratch across, but like Dan said earlier, I mean, they'll trade the two for the one, and an inning that could have been much bigger when you load the bases with no outs. Got the strikeout to Jamal Howard to end the threat in the end.
When he's going good, he's going to get a lot of ground balls, and he has so far today. Even the base hits have been on ground balls.
First pitch to Kieber in there for strike one. Back-to-back fastballs. That one at 87. Pipes it in for strike number two. Oh-2 hits the inside corner that time at 80 miles an hour with the changeup. And that's strikeout number two for A.J. Coleman, his first looking.
Had a little bit of fade on that ball, I think. It faded down and in and just really hit the spot that he wanted to, I think.
Landon Barnes flew out to right field his first time up. Joey Weimer there to make that catch in the end. Barnes, Goulet making up 2 and 3 in Paul Nickenbrugge's starting 9 here tonight. It's a Mammoths team that's able to seal 2 1-0 victories so far this season. They certainly want to see more production out of this lineup. Help could be on the way with some of those tryout guys. The first round of COVID tests are through here today, so it's about a 24-hour turnaround for those. So they hope to have the results by tomorrow and then test the second wave of guys as well after that. So that's kind of the new normal and what you have to do to make sure everything is okay and you're running at swift operation.
And it's worked. It's worked so far, knock on wood.
Here's the 1-2 to Barnes. Swing and a miss. 74 miles per hour on the curveball. Is only second or third in the game, but when he's pulled it out, it's worked quite nicely thus far.
It has, and when you don't throw it that much, the hitter is rarely expecting it, so if you can throw a strike on it, you're going to catch him by surprise.
Time for the Dunkin' Donuts race here today. Been a while since we've covered this one, but this is one we enjoy for sure.
I'm going to echo what one of our viewers said earlier. I'm going to go with hot coffee.
Oh, boy. Iced Coffee had to tie his shoe at the last second here, and Donut is off to a storming start. And now
they're bumping.
Iced Coffee and Hot Coffee rolling to the finish. Iced Coffee says, I just needed that extra push, the extra panic after I tied my shoestrings there.
That Iced Coffee moves pretty good, I'll tell you.
Melanie Covey watching today says she'd rather be at the game. Thank Melanie for tuning in here today. Deborah Willis says, way to go, Jamal. You see Xavier Warren. He started the offensive party with the home run to right. It could be 4-1 right now if the pickoff didn't happen at second base. So one run each inning given up by Ben McKendall thus far.
And the folks who picked Xavier Warren for player of the game are in good shape right now between the home run, the double, scored 2 runs.
That they are. Alec Olin, Jonathan Brandt, TJ Riles, your Zach Hart agency 3-men due-up here in the 4th inning. Ron Williams Jr. ended the threat in the 3rd. Could have been worse there to some extent. I mean, you had first and second with 1 out, then the pop-up by Romero Harris and the fly-out to center by Williams Jr. So McKendall was able to calm the storm a little bit. 6 batters have come to the plate in the 2nd and 3rd. You saw 4 in a run in the 1st. Line drive to center. Howard collects out number 1. Jonathan Brandt struck out his first time up against McKendall. That was a pair of back-to-back strikeouts for Ben. Strikeout swinging to end the 2nd, and TJ Riles did the same in his 2nd AB here in the USPBL. He's due up 3rd. That one poured foul. The slider from Ben McKendall here today. Jared Wright for the Mammoths last night. Big reason why they were able to take home that tight 1-0 victory. 0-1, popped him up into shallow territory in right field. Golay going a wrong way to make that catch for out number 2, but Wright had the slider and the curveball working as the put-away pitch last night.
You sure did. All starts with fastball command, though. If you don't get your fastball over the plate, then it's really tough to get guys to chase the off-speed pitch. Everything works off the fastball.
TJ Riles, single in his first at-bat, strikeout in his 2nd in the 2nd, as There's a slider, soft serve to left, and Johnson backed up on it in the end at the last second, but a nice bounce back here by Ben McKendall. Works his first 1-2-3 inning. Back with more after this on the US PBL Network.
Catch the Chevy Equinox at your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. Lease a 2020 Equinox LT front-wheel drive for just $261 a month for 36 months. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City.
School of the Game brought to you by Hungry Howie's and CGC Water. And this school is Lone Pine Elementary in Bloomfield Hills School District. The teacher spotlight goes to Mrs. Hillberry, who is their school principal. Congratulations, you guys, and keep up that reading. Jeremy and Dan, back to you.
Thanks, Chelsea. Good shutdown inning by Ben McKendall in the fourth. Line out, fly out, line out. Good job by Goulet and Johnson as well to pick up outs number 2 and 3. We'll see A.J. Coleman also come off a 1-2-3 inning. He has 2 of those here today. A pair of strikeouts back in the 3rd inning. Also had a 1-2-3 back in the 1st, all with the contact outs. So a line out, a fly out, and a ground out as well.
You like those contact outs when you can get them. Save yourself some pitch count. Involve your defense. He's going to be a contact type guy anyway most of the time. He's going to get a lot of ground balls.
Deborah Willis on YouTube comments, Jamal Howard's hometown is watching and cheering for the Mammoths. And Swartzendrubber McKean says, what an adorable dog in terms of JJ. Hard not to pet when he's roaming around the ballpark.
That's for sure.
Josh Goulet, Will Johnson, Ross Halfier, Zach Hart agency, 3 men due up in the 4th. Goulet today 0 for 1 with a ground ball. Curveball piped in, and this is stroked in Harris's direction. Now that's 5 straight outs for A.J. Coleman going back to the 2nd. Well, this part of the order, 4, 5, 6, Dan said, hey, they need to pick it up a little bit, and they did just that.
They did. It wasn't anything too dramatic. It was, Will Johnson went the other way with a nice single, and then a couple of infield hits in a row that went toward the 6 hole that were just really tough plays for Brandt.
First pitch fastball off the glove outside. Johnson, the lone man, coming around to score so far here today for the Mammoths. Here's the 1-0. Fastball at 87, in for strike 1. Coleman has thrown one as fast as 88 so far here tonight. He can get to 91. We haven't quite seen it here in the USPBL this year. 2-1 down low at 86. And 86 is right where it's averaged out. And when you're dealing with a 2-seam grip and a pitch that has sinking action, you can get away with that at times.
I'd be interested in knowing. Oh, got down. Thought he might have a shot at that ball. I'd be interested in knowing if his ball straightens out at all when he does get up to 91, 92, potentially. If he loses any of that tailing or downward type action.
Odger Gespy, yes?
Some guys do, some guys don't. It's hard to say. Just in watching him so far, I would think that maybe he does a little bit. Maybe this is just more where he wants to live with his fastball, around 87, 88.
Here's Ross Haffey. Teed up a single back in that second inning rally. First pitch curveball in for strike one. Brandon Minda comments on Facebook and says, I miss being at Jimmy John's Field. I live a minute away. It's got to be extra tough.
Yeah, that would be frustrating.
We hope to see you back here soon, Brandon. Brett Almore had that 6-4-3 double play back in the second to put things back in order for A.J. Coleman in the end. So you look at the line so far, and we'll see what happens with this one-out single in the fourth, though. But he was able to reel things in quite effectively to make sure this is only a one run on his line so far tonight. Fastball at 87, down in the zone for strike two. Spin rate of 21.75. What did we establish before the game? 2,200 is the major league average for a fastball?
On a fastball, yep, about 2,200. Two-seam can spin a little less than a four-seam typically.
0-2. Another curveball. Didn't break as much. Brandt with a nice sliding play over to first, and a good pick over there. Gets him! Ron Williams Jr. along with Jonathan Brandt flashing the leather together.
It's amazing. Brandt got a very similar ball to the one he got last time off Haffey's bat in a very similar situation, really. The last time he decided to try to get the runner at second, couldn't quite get him. This time he went across to first and was able to get him.
Oh, we get a good look in our YouTube monitor of the reaction by Ross Haffey, just mouth open, like, wow. He dove and got it and then threw across his body off balance to get me over at first base for out number two. Here's Keandre Jones now. He was out number one in that double play back in the second inning. Coleman trying to face just four batters here in the fourth. The most he's seen is 5 back in the second. Little nubber remains foul. Looks like the change up there. They shipped this right-handed hitter slightly away from the line in the outfield as Riles plays that direction. Harris pretty much in straight up center field behind the second base bag, and Weimer about as far away from the line as Riles is. As that's chopped foul at 87. Crispin doing a pretty good job of establishing the strike zone here today. Just a pair of 2-ball counts and 3-ball counts thus far. It was a 3-1 single here in the fourth by Will Johnson. He stands at second base. And now Xavier Warren is banged up after that play.
Judging by our spray charts, Keandre Jones pretty much pulls everything. So I'm surprised that they don't play him a little bit more in that direction than they have been. I was thinking that in my head. It certainly appears that way with his swing, and just in observing him and, you know, checking the chart now, it plays out that way.
Did you see where that might have hit, Xavier?
I did not. I was looking at the spray chart, unfortunately.
So one warm-up toss to get things back in play here.
Looks like everything's copacetic.
Bad area, Dan. I just saw it on the Facebook map.
I'm glad I missed it.
The area you don't want.
Okay. Glad I missed it. Not much you can do about that.
Here's the 0-2. Popped it foul. Bottom of the order, a combined 0 for 3 today, and at bats in the second and third inning. They're on deck in Brett Elmler, Zach Hart Agency. Men on deck here in the fourth. 3-1. Birmingham Bloomfield lead off 6 hits and no errors. 1 run, 4 hits, and 1 error on the other side for the Mammoths. Coleman trying to get out of the inning right here.
Not sure how there's only one error on the Mammoth side. At a minimum, we got to say Haffey and then on the run down at first, right? Those, at a minimum, has to be 2 errors.
Correct. So in terms of balls in play, maybe they just missed that one on the pickle attempt.
Right.
1-2 again fouled off.
I mean, that's why that run scored, so it has to be ruled an error.
Reminder, that was a Sherwood Brewing pickle back in that inning. You can head to Sherwood Brewing, tell them you watch tonight's game, get a half-off pickle pizza.
That sounds like the type of food that falls in that category where you like pickles, yes. You like pizza, of course. Well, let's put them together. Let's see what happens.
Ever had mac and cheese on a pizza?
I don't think I've had mac and cheese on a pizza, no.
1-2 is low and outside. I've had a couple times at some of those pizza buffet places.
Okay, yeah.
Ever been to one of those?
I have. CMU had one.
Did they? Okay.
Yep. Did you ever have the Coney pizza?
I have not, no. What else do they have? They have quite a few assortments when you go to those type of places.
Sure.
2-2, hot shot to left center field, sending Harris back. He got to it quickly, took a great route, and that is why he strands a runner at second base for his pitcher, A.J. Coleman, here in the fourth. 3-1 Beavers. Chelsea Estes when we get back.
Order Jimmy John's and we'll bring it to your car door. Leave it at your front door or have it ready for you at our drive-thru. Just use jimmyjohns.com or our app to tell us what sandwiches, drinks, chips, and cookies you're hungry for. When you want it and how you want it. We're ready.
Beavers on top, and I'm here with the Beavers manager, Vaughn Joshua. But Vaughn, we're playing the Woolly Mammoths tonight, and they have had a slow start to their year. They're 3-10, but 2 of their wins have come against the Beavers. So they kind of have your guys' number a little bit. Why do you think that is?
Well, you know, the last game, their pitcher he shut us out. But, you know, they're going to win. Anybody could win any game. You know, it really doesn't matter. Anybody could beat anybody on a given time. But we're starting to swing the bats a little better now, and, you know, I think we'll start scoring more runs.
You guys have definitely been swinging those bats a lot tonight, but we have a new player alert tonight from your team. TJ Riles. It's his first game tonight. He got his first hit. He's first in the lineup. So what kind of value is he going to be to your lineup? Well,
originally he came in with the COVID, whatever you call it, and I had him in the California League, and he was going to be my third hitter originally. He can hit. He's a good hitter. He's fast. So I told him, hey, I'm put you right in there and have you lead off. So and he responded, but he's a good hitter, very, very good, good ball player. His dad played 12 years in the majors, so yeah. So he got some talent, you know.
It runs in the family. I know we're all looking forward to seeing him play. So let's see what happens. Okay. Thanks, all right, guys. Back to you.
Thanks, Chelsea. Vaughn Joshua, always a great conversation, big-time baseball mind.
I just watched the other day when I had a little downtime, and I don't have a lot of downtime, but when I had a little downtime the other day, I watched the highlights of the 1974 World Series, which Vaughn Joshua was part of.
You see him in there at all?
I did. He played in every game, I believe. He had some pinch hit appearances that were notable.
First pitch to Geely is in there for strike one. You talk to Vaughn Joshua, and he's all about, you know, he's not a fan of the launch angle / uppercut.
Yes, I got that sense as well.
0-1 is foul, but he has a point to an extent. Analytics say that, you know, more launch maybe means more home runs, but when you look at the actual numbers in Major League Baseball, at least, fly balls haven't really increased with the launch angle. Here's a pop fly to left field. Johnson reaches that one.
But strikeouts have, I assume.
Correct. It's more about the planing, and I think we've talked about this a little bit, and J.D. Martinez is a great example of that. Go look it up if you haven't at home. There's some good articles, you know, explaining what that all means, but planning in terms of, knowing where the strike zone is and where your kind of strengths are, right?
Yeah, it's matching, and you want to match the plane of your swing to the plane of the baseball. And if, just to give a layman's example of that, if a pitcher throws you a fastball at the letters and you try to uppercut that ball, you can see how difficult that would be. Your timing would have to be perfect to even make contact with that, because you're coming up on it and the ball is flat. So you're not matching the plane of that swing to the plane that the ball is coming in on. So it makes it very difficult and results in a lot of swing and miss, as you might imagine.
Here's the 1-1 on the ground first base side off the glove of Jones, and Xavier Warren going to be able to reach here. I think that might go for an error. Otherwise, he was a triple away from a cycle.
Yeah, it wasn't what I would call an easy play, but I agree with you. I think it's probably an error. I think most of the time the first baseman comes up with that. We'll see how it's scored, though.
Joey Weimer getting his third AB. He's 1 for 2 so far here tonight with a single back in the third inning. He's off to a good start. 5 for 11 at the plate here in the USPBL. If you get the opportunity to come out early to Jimmy John's Field and watch two men take batting practice, maybe add a third, Haffey, Xavier Warren, Joey Weimer are three you want to see.
Mm-hmm.
Spraying it to all fields in terms of the power. It takes a big cut at that 76-mile-per-hour slider. We understand that Eric McKean's mother is watching here today, and, I kind of blanked. I read the last name, but I was like, yeah, that's his mom. And we just want to say, Mom, your son is doing a great job and providing a lot to our broadcast.
He is.
Provides a lot to this league as well, too.
Yeah, I would say by no means is he here for the purposes of the broadcast, I don't think. I think he's here
We're using him that way.
Right. He's here to help the baseball operation, but we borrow him frequently during the broadcast.
The Flight Scope, which is the analytical tracker, one of them here at the USPBL, sits right next to us. It's just this box. Just a... Cameron Comer comes up here in the fifth inning as that one rides outside. That check swing strikeout was your Jaffe Rate ruling of the game. Thank to Jaffe Rate for their sponsorship of the USPBL this season. 1-0 is upstairs, 2-0. Two outs, runner on first base. Ben McKendall trying to have another pretty easy inning. They have not went up with a hit or an error yet on the board, have they?
Must be having an argument somewhere. How does that work when they have a questionable ruling? Do they have to call Justin Orndorff and ask him?
I don't know. It's a good question. Congratulations to Pat Torres and Carly Gell, both guessed iced coffee, who won the Dunkin' Donuts race tonight, and they receive a $5 Dunkin' Donuts gift card. That'd be helpful to you, wouldn't it?
I feel like I'd have to use it on an iced coffee. I feel like that would only be right.
You can have $5 to Dunkin' Donuts, but only to whatever product wins in the Dunkin' Donut race. That'd be fun.
I suppose you're most likely to consume the donut?
Yes. Yep. Here's the 2-1 on Comer. Little pop fly to left field. Keeber calling for it. For out number 3, good job by Ben McKendall to strand the leadoff, or the one out something. It's either an error or a single here in the fifth inning. We'll try to update you out of the break after this on the USPBL Network.
Detroit Mercy really models a value-based education. They focus a lot on service, which provides so many different experiences and opportunities that allows us to tie in everything we learn, how to apply that outside of the class.
There are a number of different programs that we're a part of to help bring the community back and revitalize the city of Detroit. Doing service with the community really helps bring Detroit Mercy outside of the gates and to everyone.
Detroit Mercy. Build a boundless future.
Welcome back, everyone. All right, it's time for us to do a senior spotlight brought to you by Michigan School and Government Credit Union. Tonight, I'm going to congratulate Sabrina from Waterford Mont High School. She is one of Waterford's select 50 seniors. She is a 4-year varsity softball starting pitcher. She is part of the Link crew. She's a varsity volleyball player. She's also part of the USPBL senior dance team, and she plans to study meteorology when she goes to college. What can't this girl do? She's a rock star. Congratulations, Sabrina, and all to the wonderful seniors who are about to start their new journey here very soon. All right, Jeremy and Dan, back to you guys.
Thanks, Chelsea. Another good feature to the broadcast here in the last couple weeks. We encourage everybody to get those entries in. Surprised it was Waterford Mott here today. We've seen so many Warren entries.
Yeah, when I saw Mott, and my assumption was that it was Warren.
7-8-9 due up here for the Mammoths in the 5th. Trailing 3-1. Your Zach Hart Agency 3 men on deck. Brett Elmer to lead things off. Carly Gell on Facebook comments, woohoo, yes, I will probably spend it on an iced coffee. There you go.
There you go.
1-0 is off the plate outside. 2-0, A.J. Coleman has done a really good job limiting the damage so far tonight. There's action really stirring in both pens right now. Big swing and a miss and an 85-mile-per-hour fastball there. Outside, 3-1 now on Brett Elmer. Anthony Travato is warming the submarine pitcher.
I love seeing relievers like that.
That's for the Mammoths. And in the Beavers, we see a lot of standing down there. Some stretching. I think that's Ferguson maybe getting his stretches in.
Two sidearm relievers against each other at the same time,
That'd
perhaps?
be kind of cool.
One from the left, one from the right.
The hitters don't want to see that.
No.
So you go from the violent nature of Coleman to a side armor. That's 2 tough deliveries to track, right?
Yeah, I mean, the only common thing between them is that you're going to get a lot of sinking action on the ball, probably.
We have seen Ferguson go 2 innings a couple times this year. He relieved Coleman his last time out and did a good job. That's after he was trying to bounce back from a tough outing. Hasn't thrown in a little while. A lot of these Beavers relievers have not, just given that they have not played since July 31st. Games July 25th. It was the doubleheader. July 31st. And that's it for their last 3. They're 2-1.
Garrett Christman's had a couple good starts in a row as well. Hasn't really required much relief.
We'll see him tomorrow versus Ty Hensley here on the USPBL Network on the air at 6:50. Here's the 1-1.
That should be a good one. Good matchup.
Yeah, excited to see what Ty Hensley can do. And I think probably, knowing Ty, he's going to have a little bit of a sour taste in his mouth after that 4-run fourth inning, because he was rolling along, if I remember correctly, just one base runner in the first 3.
Well, he was practically having a perfect season prior to that.
Yeah. Short and cautious lead for Elmer at first. The 1-2 didn't check his swing there, and frustrated at that. 77-mile-per-hour curveball got him a bite for the first out here in the 5th.
Tell you what, I like that curveball a little bit. I really do. He doesn't throw it a whole lot, but when he throws it, it seems like it's against righties and strikeout type situations, and he's been very effective with it.
But that can be the case. I mean, when you see fastball after fastball, change up here and there, and then boom, the movement on the curveball. If you're guessing, you're not going to guess correctly, most likely.
He's got Jamal with it twice now, and you can see the frustration on Jamal's face.
Strike 1 poured into Isaiah Cullum, the bottom of the order here today for Paul Nickenbrugge's squad. Came in throwing the curveball 27% of the time, fastball 59%, and the changeup just 13.5%.
Surprising me a little bit, only because I expected him to throw more changeups than curveballs.
That's how it's been tonight, it seems like, without official ruling. One is fouled off there. 66 pitches now for A.J. Coleman through 4 1/3. Third baseman Olin is in tight towards the line. The first baseman Williams holding on. Brett Almer, who's on to lead off this 5th inning with a walk with 1 out. A 3-1 game in favor of the visitors here tonight. Will this one hang up for Joey Weimer? He's got the speed to burn, but the real estate says otherwise. Ran into JJ's doghouse down the right field line there. The homestead.
Yeah, as we've talked about before, that's one of those impediments that a right fielder doesn't necessarily think about. They don't teach you in Little League to watch out for the doghouse.
And really, if you're new to the USPBL, it's a good thing to go and take a walk as an outfielder or even a corner infielder.
Oh, yeah.
Just to kind of feel how far that foul territory actually is.
Well, ball really needs to be very high to catch it by the dugout here for someone to run that far.
1-2 to Brandt. To second in time. Geely, quick turn over to first base. Quick hands by both Brandt and Geely makes the difference. And for the 3rd inning here today, A.J. Coleman able to face the minimum. He's looked pretty good so far here tonight.
That was a nice turn. I'll tell you, off the bat, with that ball being soft as it was, I didn't think they had a chance to turn that one.
More after the word from Weingarts here.
The Weingarts family is honored to be celebrating 75 years of helping families like yours with your lawn equipment needs. While the equipment has changed, our grandfather's founding values and commitment to quality still drive our business.
We carry top brands like Exmark, Toro, Honda, Cub Cadet, and more. See the full lineup at Weingarts.com.
Whether it's new equipment, parts, or service, we work to earn your trust in each of our 6 locations.
From our family to yours, thank you for letting us serve you.
Weingarts, everything from lawn to snow.
Now time to take a peek at the USPBL standings, brought to you by Scott's here this evening. Unicorns and Hoppers, the class of the league in terms of win-loss. The Mammoths, with a win here tonight, can win their 2nd in a row and their 3rd in their last 4. So that would go a long way to try to trend upwards like they have the last couple seasons, right?
They have a chance to creep back into this thing for sure. They just need to keep playing better baseball. And when it's only a 4-team division, if you take care of your own business, you win 2 out of every 3 ball games, you're going to find your way back into the race.
Anthony Travato, your Hoffman Dental pitching change here in inning number 6 For the Westside Woolly Mammoths, Ben McKendall goes 5. Your observations first on McKendall.
You know what? I frankly feel bad for Ben McKendall today. You know, I don't think he had a bad outing by any means, but I think his defense really failed him to some degree today. He helped himself out defensively first by picking a man at second. A very key error at third base that really could have been a double play ball, but at a minimum would have got the lead runner out. And then on a rundown where they should have got themselves out of a key part of an inning there, ended up having a ball thrown away, and that scored a run. So I just see him as being a little bit hard luck today, unfortunately.
Anthony Travato, a guy that pitched in the USPBL last season, did a pretty good job from that side winding delivery. He's a fastball slider guy. They worked with him last year to get that fastball up to around an 88 range, topping out there. Came in topping out around 85. 10 appearances, 10 innings pitched for Travato last season. 3 runs given up, 2 walks to 8 strikeouts, and an ERA of 2.61. Kind of used as a specialist at times, had quite a few .2 inning outings.
Yeah, come in and get a couple tough righties out. Nothing wrong with that when you're coming from the side. If he can get to 87, 88 from the side, that's certainly nothing to sneeze at with that angle.
And in terms of the kind of guy he is, quote by Shane McCaddy hits the nail on the head, I think. Everyone loves Travato. Says he's a super fun guy to be around, contagious, positive energy. And because of this more natural motion, I mean, you see this with softball pitchers, he can, go out there more often than not almost every day.
Sure.
Especially in the situation that you have here in the USPBL, Max playing 3-4 times in a week if you're a part of one of those double headers. A 1 slider tailing to the outside at 78 for strike 2 on Romero Harris.
That was a nice looking pitch. If he can start that ball around the middle of the plate and have it break away like that against a righty, that's going to be very difficult.
0-2, blocked away by Cullum. So a new challenge, or by Warren, I should say. New challenge kind of for him with a new arm out there and a different fade to this pitch, obviously. One, two. Ooh, fought it off inside with a swing and a miss at 87. 1 up and 1 down against Travato here.
It's a very tough location.
So in terms of what they worked on with Travato last year, they wanted him to move a little quicker, to get the velo up, drive a little harder towards home plate. Ron Williams Jr. 1 for 2 here today. Had a single back in the second. Alec Oland would be next. Your Zach Hart agency man on deck here in the 6th. Tries to lay down a bunt with his speed, but it's going to hook foul.
Not a bad idea. Heffy's not the fleetest of foot at third base if you can push one down that way. Although if I were a left-handed hitter, I wouldn't mind seeing a guy coming from the right side like that. You should get a pretty good look at it.
0-1. Just off the plate outside at 85. I like this comment on YouTube. Christopher Barger says, Cameron Comer's, quote, summer sister, Brooke, says, let's go Beavers. I'm assuming that refers to a host family situation.
I imagine so, yep.
So hello, Brooke and Christopher. Hope you're doing well.
Summer sister, I like that term.
And you hear some of these guys talk about their host families and often smile, follows. This one grooved to right field. Goulet going back on that to the track, and he makes the catch. One of the better swings we've seen out of the bat of Ron Williams Jr. Just a long out in the end.
It was a nice looking swing. That ball jumped off his bat. Thought it had a chance.
Alec Oland trying to break his 0 for 2 here today. Reached on an error to Haffey that went in between the legs. Back in the second inning That's when they scored their second run of the game. 1 in the first, 1 in the second, and 1 in the third. And the run column so far here today. And another 0 coming in the 6th as Barnes snaps that off to first base.
Another nice looking slider, another one.
And still a 3-1 lead for the Beavers here on the USPBL network.
We really were fortunate to get out when we did. Losing our family photos, our wedding pictures, can't replace it.
Can you imagine losing everything you've got? You realize that it's the little things in life that matter. Things that they thought were damaged and thrown away, all of a sudden they magically reappear. And you see the human spirit come back.
It's our pictures.
To be able to put you safely back in your home matters to us. People matter. People count. At Belfour, we're restoring more than property.
Jeremy Otto and Dan Griesbaum Jr. back with you here at Jimmy John's Field. Looks like we'll see A.J. Coleman for yet another inning here as he goes out for the 6th, and good reason. His pitch count in tidy shape at 68 so far. We saw McKendall throw 72 and Travato with a nice 1-2-3-9 pitch inning just a few seconds ago.
Well, A.J. had a great start back on July 23rd in a no-decision effort against Utica, where he went 7 innings and was very efficient with his pitches there, and he's been efficient again tonight.
Upcoming games always brought to you by Motor City Casino Hotel. Take a peek here. It's the Unicorns and the Hoppers tomorrow. Hoppers and the Beavers on Friday, and then the Corns and the Beavers on Saturday for another doubleheader. Jim Essian's squad setting out Ty Hensley. We understand that Jim is watching here tonight, so hello, Jim. Sure you're glad to see Ty go back to the mound tomorrow.
I'd feel pretty good handing him the ball.
There are some teams taking a look at Hensley.
I can imagine.
In a uncharacteristic type year in the major leagues, certainly. I mean, that's a unique opportunity. And you have to perform pretty well, certainly at this level, to rise yourself to taxi squad in the major leagues, because you kind of have to view that either AA or AAA, mostly AAA.
Sure.
Because you're talking about 30 guys. So, I mean.
And they're there for, a lot of them are there for depth right now if they need them to come up to the major leagues. That's not true of everybody. You know, I'm sure like in Detroit is an example. I'm sure a Spencer Torkelson or a Riley Green are not going to come up. You know, they're just not at that stage of their development yet. But a lot of the guys are.
I think you're going to see a lot of these clubs put the brakes on, because we heard the rumors about Casey Mize possibly joining the Tigers last Sunday. But you get the uncertainty of the season. And I heard from a pretty good source here today that those games probably won't be made up. In terms of, you know, this 4-game set that the Tigers and Cardinals were supposed to play between yesterday and the end of the week will not happen, which means ultimately that they're going to have to start taking games away from other teams that weren't necessarily impacted by this to whittle down the season. How many can you take away in already a 60-game schedule?
Yeah, I don't know. To me, in a situation like that, I feel like those should be forfeits. You know, in a situation like that, it could serve as a motivation for a team to isolate and socially distance and be smart about where they go and things like that. I don't think it's fair for a team like the Tigers, just as an example, to have their schedule interrupted, you know, by an opponent going through something like that.
2-2 is outside.
And that's not being a homer or anything like that. In fact, I happen to like the Cardinals a great deal. They're a very impressive organization, but just overall, that's a really tough situation to deal with.
You see Williams and Olin in tight at first and third. 3-2, nearly nipped the jersey. Didn't matter. He was getting on anyway with the walk. Here's where I'm at with that. I think I agree with you if there's proof that, you know, this player went out or that player brought it back to the rest of the team. Given the, you know, the catchy nature, that we know that this virus holds and why it's spread across the United States and the world, you know, throughout this, what's nearly been, I counted this out yesterday, it's nearly been a half a year, Dan, since we've been dealing with this thing.
I know, it's crazy.
It's crazy to think about.
Yeah, you're right. That's a good point. I mean, if they catch it within the field of play or something from an opponent or something like that, yeah, sure, that's a different kind of a situation.
But here's my thing. These guys knew what they were getting into, and everybody in the USPBL knows what they're getting into. If you want to play the game, unfortunately, you're going to have to take some sacrifices in terms of what you do on the outside.
Right.
And it's unfortunate. I mean, it's almost like that's why everybody didn't like the bubble idea in the NBA and the NHL. It's working.
It is working, but it's different because they're in the playoffs and they don't even have all the teams there. They eliminated the ones at the bottom already. But as far as baseball and football go, that's going to be a tough situation. It's going to be really tough on the players, tough on everybody.
0-1 is in there for strike two. I really don't think you can play in a place like Miami right now. I think in general they'd benefit from picking a minor league affiliate, just like the Blue Jays have been forced to do because of their, whole country saying, no, we're not going to have teams travel in and out of Canada at this point. Nothing in two, just misses the corner at 88.
The traveling part of it really makes it difficult for, 30 MLB teams, 32 NFL teams, to be going city to city like that really adds an element of adds a lot of variables.
Modest lead over at first base for Kieber as he draws the throw. And that's just something you can't really do anything about unless you do a bubble.
Right. They talked about it by using Florida and Arizona, as the bubbles, but those happen to be hot spots. When it came down to making that decision, those ended up being hot spots for the virus.
1-2 fouled off, and really the complicated part of all this is that the season is already so backlogged. I mean, even in a regular year, if we started spring training or finished spring training on time and everybody reported to their respective city on time and when we were scheduled to, probably in late March. I don't know exactly how the calendar fell this year, but you're always pushing cold to warm. You know, I mean, just look at the last World Series that Detroit played in. It was in San Francisco, and you had literally two different climates. And is that that's a home field thing to some extent, but it's also something when you get into mid-November that isn't possible for some of these cities.
I don't know what their thoughts are right now, but they may decide to bubble it up when they get down to the final four teams or something like that. For one thing, you can't have an outbreak when you get into the playoffs because it's just not possible to delay and stop playing games at that point. And secondly, it might be a weather thing. Maybe they decide to just have everybody in Los Angeles, or if one of the parks with a retractable roof situation, if they agree to host it, something of that nature.
The revenue is going to come from television. So in terms of where it's played, I mean, obviously you might get some backlash from that team. 3-2 on the ground, third base side. Oland and Brandt going for that. Can't get it. And runners on first and second to start the sixth.
I feel like Brandt has been going hard to his right this entire day into that sixth hole.
You have home field advantage in the World Series. How much of a fight do you give up to say, hey, well, no, we want to play in our home ballpark?
Yeah, but if there's no fans there, it's certainly not quite the same thing.
No, I'm with you.
Yeah, you want the comfort and you want to be the home team in terms of last bats and things like that. But, it's not the same. If you're in a place like Fenway Park, Yankee Stadium, whatever, having that full crowd there is a much bigger deal than what we're facing right now.
First pitch to Josh Goulet off the plate outside. He's 0 for 2 today with a fly out and a ground out. How about Randy Dobnak? Through 6 innings, 3 hits given up, no runs, no walks, 1 strikeout. He has a .6 ERA in his 3rd appearance for the Twins.
Terrific to see, and that's a good team too.
Brandt, nice athletic play. It does advance both runners. Swinging sacrifice bunts, really, in the end for Josh Goulet, and sets up a man who's 2 for 2 here today and trending upwards.
Mammoths now a base hit away from tying this ball game potentially.
And if they do, you got to give Little pat on the back as well to Goulet for that nice AB.
He did.
Johnson, pair of singles, scored a run, the only run thus far for the Mammoths back in inning number 2. Randy Dobnak, of course, if you don't know, the Utica Unicorn, signed his professional contract with the Minnesota Twins just 3 years ago in a few days. Here's a 0-1. Outside at 77. There is some action in the Beavers bullpen. Light tossing down there. It looks like that Jack Ferguson possibly. Tough to tell right now. Here's the 1-1. Lofted right back over to first base and a double play.
And that's how you help yourself out.
Goodness. Tough luck as well for Garrett Kieber over at third base, just trying to react to the ball, and in the end, you got a freeze on that one.
All the way around, this is a tough luck day for the Mammoths.
Holy hot rods, it's race time. Chevy Detroit wheels, start your engines.
Well, your Metro Detroit Buick GMC Chevy dealers here today bring you the Chevy race and Petey Pickoff.
Look at Petey.
He took a direct path around this curve here, and he's got a long way to go. Now they got to go from the left field pole basically to the first base line. He stops for the pit stop here.
Yeah, he needs a pit. I think, are they cleaning his windows? That seems somewhat unnecessary.
Oh, now we got some collisions as well.
Someone just ran to the mound? Is that?
Wow. That's going to be a DQ, wouldn't it?
Dante Glover seemed confused, I can tell you that.
That's got to be a disqualification for Bel Air, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that route. I know Dante Glover wasn't expecting it.
So Glover takes over for Anthony Travato. Travato, a guy who just got here. I mean, active as of yesterday on a roster. Let's send it down to Chelsea Estes now. Chelsea.
Okay, well, I'm here with Metro Detroit Chevy dealer fan of the game. They're coming up here very soon. But you know what? This is the time where we recognize one super fan here at Jimmy John's Field because, hey, why not? There's all these fans here. So my fan is coming up very quickly. His name is Reed. Reed is coming. He's giving us a little bit of suspense here. He's moving. He's running up those big stairs. Hey, bud, come on over here. How are you? Good. What is your favorite part about coming to the baseball field?
My favorite part is at times.
Oh, he just has so much fun no matter where he goes. Reed, let's give the camera one big wave because you are the Metro Detroit Chevy dealer fan of the game, bud. Congratulations. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Chelsea.
Look at you in your blue.
Dante Glover taking over on the mound. Another Hoffman Dental pitching change here tonight. But for Travato, couldn't get any better through 9 pitches. 3 up, 3 down, strikeout, flyout, ground out. Taking over for Ben McKendall in the 6th.
Ben McKendall, tough luck Ben McKendall, and tough luck Mammoths today. I mean, they had a terrific opportunity to tie the ball game right there, and just the ball landed in A.J. Coleman's glove. And there's not much you can do about that. That's part of the game, part of baseball.
Jonathan Brandt, T.J. Riles, Freddie Geely, your Zach Hart Agency men on deck here in the 7th inning for the Beavers, trying to add to an already 2-run lead off 6 hits thus far.
Have an opportunity here for a AAA insurance run late in this ball game.
First pitch from Glover rises high and outside to Jonathan Brand. He's 0 for 2 today. Fly out and a strikeout thus far. Glover making his 5th appearance, all out of the pen. 6 innings of work thus far. Ooh, hot shot and handled by Haffey. Throws it quickly over to first base for out number 1. Besides the air, he showed his own at third base.
Yeah, it was a very nice pick by Haffey.
Glover has 8 walks to 5 strikeouts, so that's been the one problem area thus far.
He hasn't been hit hard by and large. That slurve of his has been a nice pitch.
Third baseman Haffey playing in. This one golfed to right field, sending Goulet in, and kind of ducked to make sure he had a good read on that one. Or was that a little gamemanship there?
I don't know if he slipped. It was tough to tell what that was. He's picking at the bottom of his shoe right now, so I'm guessing it was a slip.
We say hello to Amy Kieber from Encino, California. Go Mammoths. And talking to Jeremiah Hergott after some of these games, I mean, Amy's certainly one of our listeners that tunes in quite a bit, but we also, get some viewers once the broadcast is over on the replay, certainly from California, because you think about it, right now it's only 6 o'clock, dinner hour right there right now.
Right.
So.
And you don't have to watch live, of course. So
no, you can check it out anytime. All the games are up there on YouTube and Facebook. Runner in motion, good pitch to throw on. It's going to skedaddle its way in and bounce to Kiever down at second. And a TCF stolen base for TJ Riles, his 2nd.
I have a feeling he's going to be very careful over there this time.
Stay close to the bag is the one message probably, or close enough. So Riles with a pretty good stamp in his first game. Swing and a miss as he buries that one in at 85. Checks that runner at second base. Here's the 1-2. In there for strike 3 as Geely is set down for the 4th time today. 0 for 4 with a strikeout now. Freddie Geely is now 0 for his last 8 with 3 Ks.
It was a tough pitch. I'm pretty sure it was his 2-seamer and had a little bit of swing back action to it.
Michelle Perry Clausen says, "Go AJ," watching from Dublin, Ohio. Your Aunt Shell and Uncle Bob are proud of you, number 3. There's a lot to be proud of here today if you're an AJ Coleman fan.
Warren will have to turn around to the right side here.
Ever attempt to switch hit?
I did when I was about 13. It was, it went okay, but I abandoned it after a little while. The easiest time to switch hit by far is if you're a guy who hits opposite of what you throw, then it's easier to learn the other side. So if you're a right-handed hitter but you normally throw left, then it should be easy for you to learn how to hit left.
Was that a forced try by your dad, the coach?
It was not. No, I wanted to try it, and I was okay, but not great. It definitely lacked power. Any time that you don't have your strong hand or your strong arm on top of the bat, it's going to be a tough go to learn that. You really have to work on it a long time.
Oh, and 2 quickly on Xavier Warren here. Dante Glover trying to strand the 1-out single. Riles standing at second base because of the stolen base, his 2nd of the game. 0-2 Fought it off inside at 86. Looking ahead to the 7th. 5, 6, 7 due up for the Westside Woolly Mammoths. That's Haffey, Keandre Jones, and Brett Elmer. Can they make some magic work again? We've seen one walk-off, and that was against this very Beavers team. The last time the Beavers played a game on July 31st. Jalen Smith with a pinch hit double. Scored him in the bottom of inning number 8 for the walk-off. 0-2. Walking towards the dugout there.
After failing to sacrifice bunt twice, if I recall correctly.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, Glover wanted that one, that's for sure.
Joey Weimer waiting on deck. Glover holding this one an extra beat. Gets the sign that he likes. Now the 1-2. Ooh, nearly hit him. That's going to advance, or did it hit him? It looks like it.
It looks like it did. They're going to send the runner back, so it's a dead ball. Warren looks confused. He didn't think it hit him.
So that's the one benefit to the Mammoths here, to not have Riles standing at third base in a 2-run spread right now.
I don't know. Just looking at it again real briefly here, I don't know that it did hit him. If it did, it was very light, maybe his jersey.
Here's Joey Weimer. A single in between a strikeout and a ground out thus far for the right fielder tonight. High and away at 82. Dazon Cole kind of stretching down the left field line for the Mammoths. Don't see him coming in unless Glover gets in trouble here in the 7th.
Or if they tie it for extras, he could come in.
Very true. 1-0 is high and tight at 84. I believe that is Jared Price warming down the right field line for the Beavers. So we'll see if they go straight to him to begin the 7th, or they try A.J. Coleman. He's got 86 pitches to his credit thus far.
I would expect Coleman to come back out, but Price could get loose just in case he gets into some trouble.
You look at the last 3 outings for Coleman. His pitch count hasn't quite reached 86. On July 23rd, 73, or check that on the 15th, 76. 73 on the 23rd, and then 66 his last outing, which was short because of the big 9-run inning that he gave up. 2-1 is outside, but we talked about it again, Dan. I mean, the case of another pitcher, another guy who they have a lot of respect / they like seeing out there, and A.J. Coleman has a rough last outing, makes some adjustments, and is right back where they want him to be.
Yep, says a lot about the individual that they can make those adjustments and bounce right back.
Fly ball to left center field. It's Johnson. Looks into the night sky here in Utica, Michigan, is able to collect out number 3. So last chance for the Mammoths. They have Ross Haffey, Keandre Jones, and Brett Elmer. Now time for your 7th inning stretch. Here's Leo Ortel.
All right, ready, fans? Let's hear you sing. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I never get back. Let me root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. Thank you, fans, for participating in the 7th inning stretch.
There's Leo Ortel with your 7th inning stretch, and take me out to the ball game here tonight. The Mammoths looking to get some runs off the first reliever we've seen here today for A.J. Coleman. It's a Hoffman Dental pitching change in the 7th. Mr. Price takes over.
Last time we saw him, I believe, was in that extra innings appearance. And international rules situation, he ended up facing only the one hitter. And, base hit later, that was it. I guess you call that a loss? I don't know how that works.
That's tough, isn't it?
It is. That's a really tough loss.
You start with a runner on second base in that scenario, obviously.
He managed to keep him from laying down the sacrifice bunt that he was trying to lay down a couple times, and then ends up kind of slapping one down the line there, and you get a very tough loss for yourself.
So him and Xavier Warren will go over the signals here. Ross Haffey today 1 for 2 with a single, and his first at bat back in the 2nd. He reached 3rd but was stranded there. Jared Price getting ready for his 8th outing in the year, all in relief. 10 innings on the bump thus far, 7 walks to 9 strikeouts, 2.70 ERA thus far.
Would we consider him to be the closer at this point for the Beavers? I know we kind of saw it as being Jack Ferguson maybe at one time.
Maybe lately. Ferguson has gone a couple outings where he's pitched almost as a piggyback to the starter.
Right.
Which, in a 7-inning contest, it's hard to define a role to that. Is that a setup or is it a...
I guess you call it a setup, yeah. He has the ability maybe to go a little longer if needed.
Saren Tushko says, yay, Jared Price. Hope to see you throw tonight. Host family watching. And here he is. 0-2. Looper is foul.
Keeping his fastball down has been a key for Jared. He's got pretty good velocity, 91, 92, and if he can locate with it, has had a lot of success. Good slider. That good slider really plays off the fastball.
0-2, tipped into the glove, first strike 3. Nice job by Xavier Warren to hold on to a tough ball.
And there it was right there.
That's just all reaction, right? In terms of...
as far as the catcher hanging on to that ball, yeah. I mean, it's just having a good... You got, to some degree, you have to have strong hands and wrist and those types of things. But, yeah, it's just having the right hand positioning and just being a good receiver. Getting a little lucky, too, like anything.
Little line drive to right center. Going to be tough for Harris to catch up. Can't get to it. And it's a big-time one-out single for Keandre Jones, his second base knock of the night.
Did a nice job keeping that ball in front of him. Took a good angle to it in center. If you take the wrong angle there, Jones would end up on second base.
Quietly, Keandre now 3 for his last 6, going back to the last game. And for a guy who came in at 6 for 27, a 222 average, it's trending in the positive direction. And he's a guy that, when talking to Justin Orndorff, they wanted to get going here today. Liner up the box. How about that? Runners on first and second.
It's getting interesting.
Josh Wright is the only available player off the bench here tonight.
And Jamal Howard's got another chance. He's had a tough day so far. He's happy to see Coleman out of there.
Pair of strikeouts. ABs in the 2nd and 4th innings thus far.
You know, with Josh Wright being the only guy on the bench, wouldn't be surprised to see him pinch a run here, being the tying runs at first.
Well, Howard showcased a good amount of power his senior year at Clark University in the NAI. They're a perennial power down there. 7 doubles, 10 home runs. One is outside, still waiting to see that translate to the USPBL. He's had 1 double, 4 for 25, starting a pair of RBIs thus far. Checked his swing and left that 78-mile-per-hour slider outside. Price averaging 92.5 on the fastball coming into play today. Around 80 on the slider, 83 on the change, and 77 on the curve. He's topped out at around 95 on the fastball so far this year. Two in there for strike three. And Howard is flustered. He didn't swing at that one.
It's been a tough day for Howard. That was a tough pitch. You see a couple fastballs at 93, and then slider that's coming in on your hands like that, and it breaks over the plate. It's tough to pull the trigger on it. There's no two ways about it.
Well, most of the Mammoths games have been tight. They just have not been able to get the bats going.
Yep, just not enough offense yet. Not consistent.
Pair of singles with one out here in the 7th inning. Price trying to weave out of that. Curveball in for strike one. Price working quickly. High and away at 90 miles an hour there. Cullum today, a pair of ground balls, 6-4-3 double play, turned to end the 5th inning, and that's where Coleman faced the minimum for the 3rd time. He saw 2 base runners reach in the 6th. He turned a double play himself.
Right.
Off a liner right back at him, and got it over to Oland at 3rd to get out of another jam. 2nd and 3rd with one out.
See if he goes to slider here for the punch out. That tends to be his pattern.
One-two pitch went right there at 81, and good plate discipline there by Cullum to watch it into the glove.
I wouldn't say Jared missed his spot there. I think that's where he wanted to throw it. He just couldn't get him to fish for it.
Now the even pitch. Foul him off. Getting a second look at it, Dan. Looked to be slightly off the plate on our YouTube monitor. And I mean slightly.
Yeah. I think he threw it right around where he wanted to. He wanted to either nip the corner there or possibly get him to chase a little bit, and he didn't get either one.
Well, despite the low batting average for Cullum and a small sample size, he has a 400 on-base percentage because of 3 walks to 4 Ks, and a pair of hits thus far. 2-2, swing and a miss. Jared Price able to slam the door here in the 7th after giving up back-to-back singles. He strikes out the side, Dan.
Look good. He's got a tough slider, running the fastball up there at 93. Curveball and slider, really, a couple different looks there, and he's going to be tough. If he settles in as the closer for this Beaver squad, that wouldn't surprise me.
Well, A.J. Coleman will get the win here tonight. Jared Price notches the save, both of them pretty sharp. It's great to see A.J. Coleman come back with a great start here tonight. Chelsea Estes will catch up with our player of the game from the United Shore Media Desk after this on the USBBL Network.
Put your hands in the air.
Detroit Mercy really models a value-based education. They focus a lot on service, which provides so many different experiences and opportunities that allows us to tie in everything we learn, how to apply that outside of the class.
There are a number of different programs that we're a part of to help bring the community back and revitalize the city of Detroit. Doing service with the community really helps bring Detroit Mercy outside of the gates and to everyone.
Detroit Mercy. Build a boundless future.
The Chevy Trax from your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers has a sporty, compact design that makes it the perfect SUV for everywhere you like to roll. Lease a 2020 Trax LT front-wheel drive for just $222 a month. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City.
At Priority Health, we're embarking on a new normal, embracing the changes needed to keep Michigan safe. While that may look a little different for everyone, Priority Health is here to help. With access to the care you need, the doctors you want, and the quality coverage you can afford. So you can get back to this, and this, safely, steadily, and with the smartest health coverage possible.
The Weingarts family is honored to be celebrating 75 years of helping families like yours with your lawn equipment needs. While the equipment has changed, our grandfather's founding values and commitment to quality still drive our business.
We carry top brands like Exmark, Toro, Honda, Cub Cadet, and more. See the full lineup at Weingarts.com.
Whether it's new equipment, parts, or service, we work to earn your trust in each of our 6 locations.
From our family to yours, thank you for letting us serve you.
Weingarts, everything from lawn to snow.
They called it the 1,000-year flood. They were having homes and businesses flooded, and the roads were being washed out.
My entire house is going to be flooded. Okay, do you have a second story?
A lot of fear that we were going to lose a lot of people. When we heard the police station was flooded, we immediately gave them our command center to operate out of.
Belfort was our savior. Sheldon and his team restored 25 of our businesses and more than 1,500 residences.
At Belfort, we're restoring more than property.
With Equinox from your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers, the sky isn't the limit. Lease a 2020 Equinox LT front-wheel drive for just $261 a month. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City. Visit ChevyDetroit.com.
All the opportunities I've been given, I would not have been able to get at bigger universities.
Here, the professor cares about your success and is willing to work for it with you.
So much preparation for the future.
I couldn't imagine being anywhere else. Detroit Mercy. Build a boundless future.
First State Bank is a locally owned and operated business. We're part of your community. At fsbcares.com, you'll find ways that we're making a difference by featuring locally owned and operated businesses, providing access to helpful financial resources, and engaging with community. FSBcares.com is part of our commitment to the neighborhood because strong neighbors mean stronger communities.
Where good neighbors do great things.
Member FDIC and Equal Housing Lender.
Throughout your life, from big moments to ones well earned, we're your financial guardian angel. Alliance Catholic Credit Union.
We like to do it before we go out on the weekend.
We do.
We do it every week.
Whether we need to or not. We did it today.
It was really dirty.
My parents do it every day.
Hey, kiddo! Do it every day with the Unlimited Club only at Jack's Car Wash. Protect your car from the hot summer sun, dust, dirt, and contaminants all summer long with the Jack's Unlimited Club. Join today, starting at just $21.99 a month.
Catch the Chevy Malibu at your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. Lease a 2020 Malibu 1LT for just $288 a month for 24 months. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City.
Last year, Belfour did 114,000 different jobs around the world. We've been to floods, fires, tornado sites, earthquakes, where people have lost everything. Yes, your homes can be rebuilt, and yes, your businesses will be rebuilt, but most importantly, your lives will be rebuilt. There's nothing that we cannot fix, and we believe that.
It's our pictures.
To me, that's Belfour. At Belfour, we're restoring more than property.
Catch the Chevy Equinox at your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. Lease a 2020 Equinox LT front-wheel drive for just $261 a month for 36 months. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City.
Order Jimmy John's and we'll bring it to your car door. Leave it at your front door or have it ready for you at our drive-thru. Just use jimmyjohns.com or our app to tell us what sandwiches, drinks, chips, and cookies you're hungry for. When you want it and how you want it. We're ready.
All right, welcome back, everyone. I am here for the end of the game recap brought to you by Autolab, but the real star of the show is my player of the game, Xavier Warren, brought to you by Lombardo Homes. All right, you had a fantastic night. You were 2 for 3 with a home run. You kicked us off to a fantastic start tonight. So, all right, first ever career USPBL home run. You're at the plate, you see it go off your bat. What's going through your head?
Yeah, I mean, it was, I know, like, going through my head, I thought, like, I definitely hit it hard. I kind of knew that it was going out, and then, yeah, obviously just rounding the bases, and then seeing all my teammates happy was just really fun, too.
Absolutely, and the crowd was going wild. We were cheering over here. It was good. So you're new to the league here. So how are you preparing for, during the off season, coming here, this new ballpark, new team? How did you prepare?
I just kind of tried to stay ready during, like, the whole quarantine time period. And then I had the opportunity to come out here and play, so that was good. And then, yeah, now I'm just going to finish out this season and then try to get ready for whatever is next.
All good things are coming next, right? All right, so tonight's win over the Mammoths, they fought you guys to the end, though. Brings your record to 7-7. So what has been your favorite part playing with this new Beavers team?
I'd say my favorite part is just meeting a bunch of new people and having fun. And obviously, we're all happy to be on a baseball field because a lot of people aren't playing right now, so we're pretty fortunate. And then, yeah, just meeting people and then competing and just playing baseball. It's all really fun.
It's so great to have baseball back. I know I missed it, and it's awesome to see you guys out here doing your thing. All right, before I go, you're new to the league. What's a fun fact about you that you would like fans to know, or just a fun little unique thing about you?
Unique thing, I guess I'm a switch hitter, which is kind of unique for baseball. So, yeah, I would say that's my unique fun fact.
The secret weapon, you guys. You heard it first. All right. Congratulations, Lombardo Homes player of the game. It's Xavier Warren. Nice job. Well deserved. We look forward to seeing you out here again. Jeremy and Dan, back to you guys.
Thanks, Chelsea. Yeah, a couple nice at-bats. I mean, you look at the last 3 hits for Xavier Warren, a double off the right center field wall that nearly went for a home run. A home run here tonight, left the bat 103 miles per hour into that same type of spot, and a double earlier today as well. His swing is looking good.
He does. He's got some great pop in his bat. He's got a nice smooth swing, just a great athletic ball player, multiple positions, and he was a 3rd-round pick for a reason, so it's great to have him in the league. To have that level of talent here, he's going to be exciting to follow.
Single runs on the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd leads to a 3-1 victory for the Beavers here tonight. Ty Hensley and Garrett Chrisman going at it on the mound tomorrow. We're on the air at 6:50 here on the USPBL Network. For my partner, Dan Griesbaum Jr., everybody involved here at the United Shore Professional Baseball League, I'm Jeremy Otto. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night, everyone.